Hey folks, welcome to Primo NUTMEG. I'm your host Steve, and joining me today is a legend of Seatown, Paul.
Well, hardly a legend, but hi, how we doing, everybody?
Now, we actually have two other legends of Seatown, Jack and Rob, who are going to be joining us soon, but they're on the road right now, so Paul and I are going to get started. And today's show is a special birthday show because today is my birthday. I'm 31 today.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. And it's also Jack's 31st birthday, I think either tomorrow or the next day. We'll have to ask him when he gets here. So in celebration, I have two bottles of whiskey here. I have, well, first off, Gentleman Jack, which is classic. And
Sure, Rob's drink of choice there, right?
And I got Wild Turkey Rye. You don't like rye whiskey?
I'm not really a big whiskey drinker in general.
You're not?
No, kind of more vodka,
Yeah, I don't know. I like to switch it up a little bit. I never really got into rum, like when everybody was drinking Captain and all that shit.
I mean, in all fairness, I'm not really much of a Tuesday drinker either, so that could be kind of dissuading my decision-making process here a little bit.
Well, feel free to grab some of either if you'd like.
Well, being that it's your birthday, I'm sure that you should probably just pour me a little bit,
Which one you want?
I think the one that I said ew to, I suppose. Should probably give that another go around here.
Here you go.
Thank you, sir.
It's actually pretty smooth. I'm a big fan.
That's what everybody says about alcohol that's not actually smooth, though. No, it's actually pretty smooth. Just take a little sip of this. Put some hair on your nuts.
I actually think it's smoother than the bourbon, than Wild Turkey bourbon, to tell you the truth.
I stand corrected. That is actually very smooth.
I told you. I'm a whiskey connoisseur. At least I like to think I am. Bullet bourbon and actually Bullet rye. Those are some of my favorites.
Who makes Bullet rye? Bullet's the actual brand name on there?
Yeah, it's Bulleit.
Oh, Bullier.
It's pronounced Bullet. Actually, it was prominently featured in a Sylvester Stallone movie, Bullet to the Head. Did you see that movie?
Yeah, I did. I actually went and saw it in movie theaters.
Because that's the drink that he carries around with him. Like he goes to the bar and brings the bottle in with him and asks for a glass or pays for a glass.
That's right. And he had to pay for the glass in the movie, right? They wouldn't just give it willingly sometimes because it was outside alcohol.
That was a pretty good film.
The end scene was especially pretty powerful. That last fight with the fireman axe, I remember. That was
Well, not to spoil anything. I mean, this movie came out, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's spoiler alert,
But Christian Slater, his character, he was sort of the main bad guy for the first half, and then he gets killed.
Yeah, and then you're just kind of left without anybody. Well, who was the main bad guy towards the end, though? It was just that. It
ended up being his boss or something, but
Dolph Lundgren or something like that, as I recall.
It was actually, that movie came out, there was a 3-week period where Arnold Schwarzenegger came back right after being governor of California, and he made, I forget the name of the movie. It's he had to...
It was with that Spanish guy, and then
he was racing to the Mexican border, or somebody was going to the Mexican border, and he had to stop them or something.
He was a sheriff in a Texan town that was kind of right on the border, so he was the last line of defense, and it was called The Last Stand, because the town, that's where they made the last stand against this guy.
And that was pretty bad, and Die Hard...
I think you should watch that again. It was actually... It's pretty good for a Schwarzenegger, It's better than Sabotage, which he came out with a couple years after. That was just complete garbage.
I went to that theater with Trevor, Colleen, and Bruce, and Bruce was kind of a distraction during that film, throwing his shoes or whatnot. So maybe that took away from it. But from what I recall, that movie wasn't too good. And then Die Hard 5 also came out right around then, in a 2 or 3 week period.
Yeah, I don't think I watched that. Was
it
with his son or something like that?
It might have been 4. No, 5.
It was Bruce Willis' son in that, right?
How many did they make? The last one was the father-son one, right?
I thought there was 3. Was With a Vengeance 3 or was that 4? Which would push the most current one to 5.
4 was
Live Free or Die
Hard.
All right, then that's the only one that I remember. That was with his son, I believe, right?
No, that was the hackers are taking, what is it? A Good Day to Die Hard. Okie doke. I guess that was it.
All right.
That wasn't that good.
No, I just remember Live Free. It's the last one.
So in those 3 those three movies, between the Schwarzenegger movie, the Stallone movie, and the Bruce Willis movie, I thought the Stallone movie was the best.
I would say that the Schwarzenegger was the best out of the three.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of... All right, so here's the
Does
deal.
he, like, beat the guy by, like, giving him a German suplex on a bridge or something at the end?
Yeah, but it's Schwarzenegger, though, you know? Like, you got to do what you got to do. I guess, really, at the end of the day, I'm not the biggest fan of movies set in New Orleans, you know?
Oh,
so that
come on,
kinda,
man. Have you ever been to New Orleans?
Yeah, Mr. Mardi Gras over here, Jesus, you know?
I love New Orleans. It's a very unique city.
I just not much for me. I don't like anything around it. I'm very tolerant, I know, but you know.
When did you go there?
I've never been there actually. One of the places I've never been to.
So you're judging a city that you've never been to?
Yeah, I am.
Okey-doke.
I've seen plenty of like Mardi Gras experience and multiple forms of media and everything like that, and it just gives me an eerie feeling inside. I can't explain it.
It is eerie. It's strange because there's a lot of like costumes and like weird kind of voodoo vibe type stuff.
And
but
it's not like a South thing, you know. I've been down to Georgia,
it's nothing like the
St.
rest of the
Louis,
South.
Missouri. You know, like I've been kind of like generally around that area, if we want to generalize the South. But
that's why I like it, because the South is so monolithic for the most part. And then you get to southern Louisiana and it's Acadiana. It's all Cajun and French and very different than the rest of the South. And then you get to New Orleans and that's different than the rest of Acadiana.
The rest
Cajun
of Acadiana,
country.
yeah. You see, I think it's the whole Cajun thing that kind of like puts me off a little bit too.
I think you got to go down there, man. I think you got to give it a shot just one time.
Yeah, my traveling days are over.
Aren't you still? I thought you're like flying all over the world still.
No, I'm
You're done with that?
Yeah, I'm production manager. Well, soon to be 2 weeks from now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where was your last trip to?
Paul's last trip. I don't know. I think I like drove up to Maine for one day, but that doesn't really count. You know,
not that exotic.
They send me on like trade shows here and there, you know. So I'll go to California or
It's pretty cool.
Vegas, you know.
You got sent to Europe a couple of times, didn't you?
Yeah, I did actually. I spent a month and a half out in Austria, and then I went over to Germany for another week, kind of like
Sweet.
Frankfurt area. But
That's cool, man.
yeah, I mean, all on company dime, you know. It's a good experience, but looking to grow some roots.
That's where I'd like to go, because I've been to London and Paris, but I never really got to see, well, you know, even outside of those cities. But I really would like to see the rest of Europe: Germany, Poland, Austria.
Yeah, I mean, it's really beautiful country out there, you know, rolling hills, kind of like they say.
Yeah, Somo camped out in the Black Forest, and he was telling me all about that. I really want to go there.
Cool.
Sounds like a lot of fun. All the castles and shit. Mm-hmm. And then Eastern Europe, I think, would be really cool too, like Romania.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where my heart lies with Europe, you know, the whole Eastern corridor there.
Yeah. Plus, it'd be really cheap too. At least Eurotrip is giving that impression.
Well, no, because they have this thing they call the Euro Pass. I don't know if you've heard of this, but
it's the train thing.
Yeah, it's the train thing. So like for like $300 for like a month, you could pretty much use like any form of public transportation all over Europe.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Actually, I was looking at prices. My girlfriend was telling me that it's apparently cheaper if you fly from like city to city, because like to go from like, I don't know, Barcelona to Rome, for example, I guess is, you know, it's like $50 or something. So it's like really cheap just to like fly from city to city for a couple weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, Europe's so small. I believe that's kind of what all the businessmen do around there. You know, they'll like fly out on Monday and then even come back like on a Wednesday or something like that. You know,
Right.
You figure that plane tickets are kind of like just buying a train ticket to wherever you're going, anyways.
So where in the world would you still like to go? Anywhere? Or are your traveling days really over?
No, they're really over. I've seen enough. It's pretty shitty everywhere. You know, it's.
I don't know, man. I've fallen in love with some places. I mean, I really do like New Orleans a lot.
Oregon, I guess. You know, that's
Yeah,
cut you off,
Pacific
but I wouldn't mind
Northwest.
going back out there.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the entire western half of this country.
You know,
I went out on a road trip back in October, and I got to see Kansas, Missouri, Iowa. That was actually really cool. I actually liked Iowa a lot, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I've been there like mid-February, just like desolate cornfields and stuff like that.
The people out there are really cool, though. They're very American. You know, they're very like rambunctious and individualistic. Like that's like That's the impression I got. Like, this is real America out here.
Well, because they have the sheltered ideals out there, you know, they're kind of like uninfluenced by the East Coast and the West Coast. They've kind of just been breeding out there with these ideals for, you know, God knows how long.
But they're not like pushover people. Like I don't know.
No,
they're very loud. They drive very fast. Like,
no, I mean,
they're full of life.
They'll tell you if you're doing something wrong. You know, that's for damn sure. But I don't know. Northern California, I guess it's pretty nice.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, like you're saying about New Orleans, I've never been to Las Vegas, but that's kind of the feeling I have about Las Vegas. Like,
oh, it's the biggest cesspool fucking shithole ever.
So you have been there?
Yeah, we actually did a week-long job out there. We stayed in the Hard Rock Cafe, you know, hit the strip a few times. You know, I was walking down the strip with a fucking wine bottle in my hand, not even in a brown paper bag. Piss cocked, you know, and it was just the norm, you know? Like, I was actually the good guy in that situation. So, I mean, you know, if you want a place to go where you could be as, like, crazy and raucous as you want to, but, I mean, you know, they're flipping you cards for legalized prostitution on the street, too. Which is
it just seems like a big waste of money to me.
It's obscene.
You know, like you just go there and you throw your money away. Maybe it's like from being from Connecticut, we have the two biggest casinos in the country are right out over in the forest over here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like if I want to go to a casino, I'll go to Foxwoods or Mohegan. I'm not going to go to Las Vegas. I mean, what's the point?
There's like too much to see in Las Vegas because there's like old Vegas and new Vegas. So if you like potentially like really want to go out exploring and everything, you need like a month to go and check out every establishment out there, you know? Hoover Dam, though, it's pretty cool.
I suppose. Yeah. I mean, again, there are things around there I'd like to see. Well, again, I haven't ever been out there, so I don't really have a good sense of distance, but the Grand Canyon, that's somewhere near there, right?
Yeah, I think that's like a couple hours away to the nearest canyon point.
Sweet. Yeah,
Hoover Dam was like about like an hour outside of the city, you know?
So what's your favorite place that you've been?
On the clock or off the clock?
Just in your life.
I guess Austria, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any city in particular or town or whatever?
The town in Austria I was in was Bad Schallerbach, and that was kind of a little bit south of Graz and west of Wietz. But I
don't know where those places
are. Yeah, I know. There's no frame of reference here, really. You know, it was kind of like southern Austria. You know?
And what did you like so much about it?
Just the people, I guess. You know, it's kind of completely different from how we exist here. You know, crime rates are very low out there. The food's all fresh, really. You know, their milk spoils within 3 days. There's no like artificial preservatives and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, food's really good. Just everybody's kind of demeanor, really. They're all kind of like poor farmers out there, you know. They're like the Mexicans of Europe, essentially. Germany being America, you know.
And that's kind of how I felt when I went to Japan too. I was really surprised like how different people were. Like I didn't realize that just like the psychology or pathology of everyone could be so drastically different if you went somewhere like that where like everybody's just polite and quiet and kind, you know. It's a lot different than here where again, people seem pissed off and
well, you come
to tell you off or whatever.
Slugging in with your bucket of fried fucking chicken, you know, pushing all these Japanese people out of the way.
I actually got mad when I was on a train there because these two Texans were on this train and they were just so fucking loud. And they were just telling stories and laughing and hooting and hollering. Like, can't you guys realize that everybody else on this train is completely silent right now? And you are the only two yelling?
Like, be respectful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I see that a lot in American culture, though, too, you know? There's always, like, that one in the bunch on the train that just won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but there weren't any Japanese people doing that. It was the Americans.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'd say that was my favorite spot. I would say Kyoto, Japan, was probably the best place I've ever been.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was a pretty huge trip for you, too, you know? That was, what, was it a month or 2 months? Yeah, I mean, 2 months in a place, you almost want to go AWOL, you know?
Yeah, I really did like it a lot. Honestly, when I think of like places I still want to travel, it's hard to think of things that could really compare to that. Like I think Europe and Eastern Europe, I guess, but I don't know. There's a lot of the world I really don't want to see, to be honest with you. Like,
Like
I don't
no
know,
like Australian lust or anything like that?
I guess a little bit, but I don't know. Like all these people want to go to Southeast Asia, and it just seems, I don't know, just like jungle. Like I don't really see the appeal, or like I don't know, India, Middle East. Like I don't really feel like going there.
Yeah, it's not on my top 10 by any means.
But I don't know. I'd like to explore, so maybe it's different once you go there too. Maybe I would love Las Vegas if I went there, and maybe you would love New Orleans if you went there.
I'm sure. I just don't really have the time, money, or energies, I guess, at this point, you know? I'm kind of on other endeavors.
That's where Crispy's living now.
Where?
New Orleans.
Oh, really? Well, they have a pretty good music scene down there,
That's true. Actually, I didn't think of that.
I guess, but...
I don't think he's doing craft work still, or whatever they call it.
Oh, the League of Crafty Guitarists, which they model themselves after.
We could give him a call, maybe find out, but I don't know.
Yeah, that'd probably be a pretty bland call, but should we?
It probably would be. I don't know. It's the birthday show. We don't really have any kind of agenda for this show. So, yeah, let's give Crispy a call. Let's see if he answers.
Let's do it.
All right, one sec. All right. Well, Chris did not answer, so
Dodge that bullet, I guess.
So, have you seen any good movies lately?
Yeah, pretty much like anything and everything. We were just talking earlier about my illegal internet streaming box that just brings me the power of everything right to my doorstep, you know, and they're usually pretty good, fair quality videos anyways.
What's the best movie that you've seen recently?
The best movie that I've seen recently. I guess I would have to say, I mean, I'm kind of going back a couple of months, but X-Men Apocalypse was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I can't help it, but I just am not really into those superhero movies anymore. I think I've just seen too many shitty ones.
Yeah.
I've just been, let down too much. There are good ones, obviously, like the Batman ones or Iron Man. I think the remake of the Hulk was okay.
With what's his name there? Mark Ruffalo? Or are you talking about the Edward Norton one?
The
Mark Ruffalo
one
is the new Hulk, actually.
Yeah, wasn't that better than the Edward Norton one?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty good. They use him for all the Avengers movies and everything like that, too.
Yeah. But there's a lot of those I missed, I think, just between Fantastic Four and Daredevil and just all that shit.
Yeah, well, all those ones kind of sucked, really. They kind of had like a revitalization of sorts, After the whole Iron Man thing, they started really like pulling these Avengers movies. So there's like a couple of outlying superheroes like Thor and Captain America that they all made movies about.
I thought the Thor movie was actually pretty decent, the first one.
Yeah, it was all right.
So, anything else that you've seen recently?
That's the thing. I watched like so many things that just like the Kelly Bundy syndrome, One movie pushes another one out of my head.
How about TV shows? Are you binge watching anything?
Yeah, we've been watching this new show called Outsiders.
What's that about?
It's about the mountain people that exist down in the southern Appalachians, kind of like near Tennessee. It's based on a true story, actually. So there's like this culture of people, like 3,000 people that have just been like living up in the mountains, populating for, centuries now. And it's about the coal industry trying to mine, take over the land and kick these people out. But they're all just like inbred savages pretty much. So, hilarity ensues.
Is it a comedy?
No, it's a drama. It's a serious drama show, But
is it like a horror movie or a horror show kind of?
No, not really at all. It's just a drama, It's pretty well done. It has Opie from Sons of Anarchy in it. He plays one of the main characters, and
sweet.
Yeah, they're just moonshine and rednecks that are living up in the mountains and defending their territory.
Sounds pretty good. Yeah.
How about you?
I kind of hold off on binge watching stuff until it becomes popular or until like the show is pretty much over. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I did with Mad Men. That's what I did with Breaking Bad. Just kind of waited until it's done and then like.
Well, because then you can complete yourself essentially, right?
I guess you're not left hanging or needing to see every new episode. Because that sucks with It's Always Sunny because they're still making those. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the most recent season?
Yeah, I did. I think it's already over, actually.
It is. Yeah, it was only fucking 10 episodes.
I waited to actually binge watch it because you could watch it in a few hours. It doesn't really take forever.
There you go. Yeah, so that sucks. It's like you gotta like wait a week to watch essentially 20 minutes worth of stuff.
Sure. Not to make a little sidebar right now, but do you remember the episode with the water park where Frank ends up going down the slide?
That's
and
pretty
he
good.
goes into the pool and he's bleeding. Everybody thinks he has AIDS blood.
Honestly, I thought the best one. What's that? Wild turkey ad? Oh, really? That's funny. Yeah, Facebook Messenger listens to you. It hears you. We're getting wild turkey ads on our Facebook now.
Wait, what?
That's
crazy.
Facebook,
No, I understand. I'm just saying what, like, as
Facebook
shock and
Messenger listens to you, and if it picks up on certain words, or if you're listening to a TV show, you'll start seeing ads for it.
Man, that's not a good reason to smash all your devices.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy. I think you can turn it off. You have to like turn your microphone on Messenger off, but then you can't make calls.
What? That's
Yeah.
insane. Well, I don't really make many calls through Messenger anyways, but...
Yeah, man, it's pretty creepy. I've told this story several times on the show, but the reason I found out about it was that Jack gave me a Highlander VHS tape, and I didn't like Google Highlander. I didn't like. I have no other connection to Highlander besides putting this VHS tape in a VCR and watching it, and then I started getting ads for like Highlander groups on Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
That is really creepy. I mean, think about what else they're doing with that technology.
Well, there was something else that just passed Congress. I think it was like this past week, where I haven't really looked into the legislation, but the impression I get is that internet companies can like sell information about like what you do online to advertisers. Oh, look, here we go. These two
Here's
probably
the
have more
rest of our party.
information.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know what to believe. Yeah.
None of us do, Jack.
I know.
Disenchanted.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to hold on a second. We're going to let Rob and Jack get situated and join us.
Heads up, America. Let's stand prepared with our defenses high. Heads up, America. A land that is prepared can never die. Every woman and every man must be part of the CD plan. Must be ready with every eye up to the sky. Heads up, America. For America must never, never die. Freedom is everybody's business. Everybody must take his turn. Freedom is everybody's business. So let civil events be everyone's concern. Let every family work together, and together our might we'll show. In defense of our land, united we'll stand, ready for any
So, Rob, Jack, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Hi.
Jack, this is your sweet 16th appearance.
All right.
And I believe it's also your birthday this week, too, right?
Yeah, 2 days from now.
There you go. So,
Thursday.
happy birthday to you.
Thanks.
It's, as
You
we were
too.
just saying off air, it's a little depressing, isn't it?
Yeah. But what are you going to do?
Get older, I guess.
Yep.
Maybe we can download our minds into a computer someday and live forever. It won't matter how old we are.
Yeah, and then we won't have souls anymore. It'd be awesome.
I saw that on the X-Files.
Really? Did an X-Files thing about that?
Yeah.
Sorry. You guys got to share.
Oh.
Deus Ex Machina.
I wasn't sure if I was between two mics that I might have some
Maybe
kind
if we
of
like,
Stereo, Rob.
Nope. Nope.
we could do like
Just
that.
quiet.
Yeah, no, it was an episode of the X-Files where a rogue computer programmer downloaded himself into a program in the internet and then was able to control missiles and
Really?
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he like sent a Scud missile, or not a Scud missile, like a Patriot missile after Mulder and Scully. I don't know.
Cool. Like Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, and then in the end they like find him in like a camper inside like this huge server bank, and he's like all like plugged into the computer and all withered away and shit.
That's pretty sweet. I never saw that episode.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So we were actually just talking about, I guess there was legislation passed this past week where internet companies now can like sell information about your browsing to, I guess, other companies for like advertising purposes. The whole wild turkey thing kind of brought that up.
Right, yeah.
Have you guys heard about that at all?
Yeah.
I've only kind of heard the headline. I haven't looked into it.
I've thought they've been doing that for years, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing about like the whole CIA revelations that they can like break into any computer or smartphone.
Yeah.
It's like, didn't we kind of know this like 12 years ago?
Yeah, I didn't see what the big deal was. Like, I guess because it's official now because they
Yep.
kind of talked about it.
Well,
Because it was all the dum-dums. They're finally understanding how bad it is,
right.
you know? Whereas like
Are
10
they?
years ago, I was like shouting myself hoarse, wanting people to understand that their rights are being infringed on and that we're inside a slowly closing net. And now the net's already closed, you know?
Well, that's a great time to become aware of said net.
Because once it's closed.
Wait a minute. Damn it.
Where's my scissors?
I can't get out.
Got me again. Oh, shucks. Well,
Well, hopefully the government likes watching black porn as much as I do.
So we don't really have much of a format for this show. We're just kind of bullshitting. Paul and I were talking about binge watching TV shows before we got into this wild turkey thing or internet thing. Have you guys been binge watching anything lately?
have I?
What have you been binge watching?
Everything. Everything and anything. I'm dropping all my fucking...
I did see a great Hoarders. I want to see the full episode. It was just like a clip. And it was one of those things, actually, I never click. It was like, you know, the little ads, like suggested videos underneath, like a Facebook video or whatever.
Right.
I never touch those things. But there was one, it was like about best hoard ever or something. And it said poop on the bottom of it. I'm like, oh, this lady hoards poop. I got to see this. Is that the jugs? The
Yes!
dirty water?
Oh!
Yeah. It was disgusting.
Are we talking human feces or is
Yeah.
this
So-
like all kinds of like a
You tell
rainbow?
them.
A rainbow.
You just
feces.
saw it again.
Yeah, so basically there was this hoarder, quote unquote, really just crazy person, totally crazy, who was like living with her mother in their house, and the toilet stopped working about 10 years ago. So they were pooping in a bucket, and then the bucket gets too full. So she ladles the poop out into a smaller bucket and then pours it into juice container.
Ghost. The you guys can't hear because you don't have the headphones on.
delay.
Sorry, what?
We had a
Right.
ghost appearance.
Could I hear it?
I
now?
can't. Well, I'm very glad that the ghost made a birthday appearance. That was nice. So, Jack, why would somebody want to hoard poop?
I don't know, but it was great. She had bottles and bottles of dirty water, as she called it, her and her mom. And then when the poop bucket got too full, they would just go dump it out in the backyard.
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. It went beyond, you know, somebody who's like attached to a bunch of stuff. Like it went on to like, it's got to be like a fetish. Like when something gets that bad, like you have to wonder if it's like someone's got some kind of like, you know, a certain amount of perverse pleasure out of the whole.
Oh, she loved
the
it.
whole. Yeah, I mean, she was cooking, eating, sleeping, living
poop.
in this like stock room of poo-filled milk jug.
It became ceremonial, the ladling of the poop.
Yeah.
into
Oh,
the-
yeah. She's a whole.
Well, the guy said there was like old tampons on the floor and stuff too. It was just like garbage everywhere. And she was like,
It's so gross.
they're like, you have contaminated food in your house. He's like, well, can I just eat a little of the contaminated food before I go? You know, it's like a last,
She
it's
was
like a
begging
last
him.
rush.
Jesus
They're like, why
Christ.
would you want to eat fecal contaminated food? She was just like, I don't know. Like,
Totally had become.
she's like incredulous. Like, why wouldn't you want to eat contaminated food?
It's all I have left.
There's got to be a point in her life where maybe she like went out after dark and went to some clearing in the woods where some kind of malevolent like fungus troll spirit like infested her body and turned her into this like weirdo. That's
a good theory.
Because like you know how that happens
gonna be a
in
duty
movies,
girl.
like the fucking Kandarian demon in Evil Dead like like flying around in the woods and she's just out there and someone's calling into her but she doesn't understand and this thing just goes inside her body and turns her into this fucking shit demon, fucking human human. I don't even know. Rats have more hygiene. Than
The
that.
Kevin Smith movie Dogma, they had the Golgothan shit demon in there or whatever, you know.
Now, it is possible that she just wanted to be famous and be on TV. So
No, that is
That's a
impossible.
long.
Eat some cat
that's a
hair if you want to be on
long-term
famous.
plan.
You know?
That is impossible. She was just like they like, you know, they have the little epilogue at the end of the show or whatever. And they like her family sent her away to a home, like she's unfit to live alone, you know.
some reality TV shows are scripted, though. Like,
Yeah, but you couldn't. I don't. You'd have to be.
can't fake that.
You could win a fucking Emmy for set design if that was not real.
It's like a Ridley Scott movie. Like it's all there. Like yeah, you can't fake that shit.
The poo scooping I thought seemed staged, but I think she did it on the reg. It's just a matter of them saying like, "Cool, can you scoop the poop for us?"
right.
Her showing them how to do it. It was right. It's right up there with the small town security episode with the.
It was
shit
way
stick.
grosser than
The
that
shit
even.
stick.
That was that's great.
It was hilarious.
So when we were just outside a minute ago, we were talking about school. Paul, Jack, you guys are both taking classes right now.
Yes, we are.
I don't know if you feel like repeating that in the podcast, but I thought it was good insight. Actually, I don't want this.
It's mad gay, yo.
Yeah, more or less.
So what don't you like about it?
Time. It eats up so much time.
And
It's like my number one hated cause of it. Secondary being that nobody's really there to try necessarily. It kind of seems.
Well, yeah, it's not time well spent. That's the thing. Like I'm perfectly okay with like learning. You know, I love learning things or applying knowledge is great.
Sure, it's just
But
nobody
school
else
isn't like that.
Nobody else is there to achieve this common goal of knowledge. So you get these
Including the
people-
professors.
Oh, including the professors too. They're just there for a job.
And they're really the worst part, right? Because I've found repeatedly in both undergrad and when I was getting my master's that if you disagree with the professor, then your grade is going to suffer because they do
Right.
not like you if you disagree with them.
Yeah.
So a professor could just lower your grade arbitrarily. Like
Yes.
Sure, my wife has a liberal teacher for public speaking right now, and she, they kind of conflict in their ideology and everything like that.
Oh,
So
because
she
the
gets-
papers are based on opinions.
Exactly, and
stuff.
More or
she
less, yeah.
gets demerits on her
Yeah,
grade
yeah.
because the teacher doesn't follow her opinion, which is kind of a bias.
And
for
I've
the
had
Like a
it
teacher.
police officer.
I've had it from every kind of professor. I've had it from feminist professors and communist professors. I've had it from neoconservative professors and free market Chicago school professors. If you disagree with the professor, your grade is going to suffer for the most part. It's very rare that is not the case. I think I had one philosophy professor who was like in his 90s and he was cool with it. But pretty much anyone else is going to give you a really hard time.
Yeah. And it's tough when you don't agree with anybody at the whole fucking place, Like, I'm a minority of one. That's really all there is to it. Like,
Yeah.
and they don't like that,
Right. Yeah, Rob, we were just talking this morning about one of our friends who's going into social work, and it's really strange that he's going into that because he doesn't seem like that kind of person. And
Yeah,
all I ever hear from him is how much he hates the discussions that he
Is
has
he
in class.
alt-right? Is he considered alt-right?
No, he's like libertarian, minarchist.
So that's not alt-right to the establishment.
I don't know. Ask
I would
ask
say that the
ask
media
CNN what
and
alt-right is.
the other side would say that that libertarian would be alt-right. I don't know.
I think of alt-right as like, I don't know, reactionary conservative.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's like, no, it's a total, like I was saying, it's a total fish out of water thing. Like the classes that he would have to go to and the people that he would be mixing with are just totally, opposed to his worldview. And it just seems like
My interest is
losing
peaked now.
battle.
I know you can't.
Ethan.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think you've met him. He wants to do like a libertarian roundtable. So at some point, if we could do that.
But that's the thing. Do I belong in that group even? Like, how did you disagree with Chicago school economists? There obviously is.
I forget. It's been so long.
Yeah.
Some kind of microeconomic thing. I don't know. I more remember my disagreement with my macroeconomic professor who had been on the Federal Reserve.
Oh, yeah. Flow of money. Money
So-
slackness in the money supply.
So that's like a situation where you just have to stop thinking and just accumulate facts and spew them back out. You have to like turn your independent thought off in that kind of situation. It seems.
Well,
Yeah, but I have a really hard time doing that.
You have to survive.
And that's the point. You're
It is
playing the
surviving.
system versus going there and actually learning something, which is
Yeah,
the
it
point
becomes
of it.
some sort of weird ritual or
And
like,
like you were saying the other day at your house, it's like the Legend of Zelda. Oh, I unlocked the code to this dungeon. I know exactly how to pass through it,
Right.
and essentially that's what it is. So you like learn every professor, you learn exactly what he's looking for, and you place you to that versus pursuing your own personal knowledge on the subject that you're trying to master.
Yeah, it's just about you learn to play school, and you don't really
some people never learn
pursue
that.
a passion, or instrument your own will on
Like,
your
it
life.
infuriates me. I just sit there and like, this is so fucking dumb. Why do I have to do this? This is so fucking stupid.
You're just saying too that the syllabus day that has the most questions of any day of the year.
Yeah. Unless the question is, will this be on the test? Syllabus day has the most like sort of just town hall style random questions.
So how many classes could we potentially miss?
Right.
And still pass this class?
Yeah, it's that sort of shit. Or like, do you curve? Or what is this going to consist of? What's the formatting should
and what
be?
percentage is the final worth?
Yeah, exactly. That sort of shit.
Yeah. Is it going to be take home?
It's funny too
Yeah.
because
Please
It's
take
just
home?
like fucking lawyer, like how to succeed at the DMV or fucking applying for Section 8.
And you're not learning shit, you're just going there and just trying to get your
that's the
A's and
thing.
get your little stupid piece
like
of
we're
paper.
doing geology shit Mr. Dart taught us
right.
Yeah.
in college
Yeah.
at a university. I'm not even at community college.
Yeah, I'm at community
anymore.
college, like Jackson, the big leagues,
Welcome to geology, like it was in 6th grade. What's a thrust fault? Earthquakes occur at what depth? It's like, A, who fucking cares? And B, I've already done this like 3 or 4 times in my life. Like, and I still have not applied it yet unless you're talking about another geology class. So can we please just move on?
So what do you think would happen if you took a history class or a philosophy class or a political science class?
Well, I took Western Civ online, and that was, again, just like, watch this video from the History Channel and write a reflection on how important Cyrus the Great was. Okay. Duh, I'll do that. Fucking retards. But somehow, then you get the magic paper and that means something to somebody somehow. It means that you can deal with 4 years of pointless tedium. So potentially, that's a pretty good career at an average job, right? And so jobs know now, like, hey, well, this guy can deal with 4 years of bullshit at least, maybe more.
But I think
Be a good cog in our system.
Yep, perfect.
But I think degrees are becoming less valuable, and I think part of it is because there's so many. But I think
so many.
another part of it is too because you aren't learning anything, and you do need real world
Yeah, the
experience.
jig is up.
Well, and this is what employers are starting to realize that like on-site experience and on-the-job training is actually like 90% more worthwhile than
Yeah.
that little college piece of paper. So,
Right.
Yeah, you learn how to, you learn about a lot of different things, and you do, if you go into there are certain, majors that you'll get in college that, the work that you do there really will pay off. If you worked in the theater or something in college and you went into theater and you maintained
Sure.
a theater career and blew that up, that would really work for you.
But there's no reason to take those required classes, like
like-
communication or.
Well, not only that, but if you want to learn theater, then, say in the 19th century, there was enough theaters around where you could just be like, hey there, I'll work, shine your shoes for a nickel working in the theater.
Yeah.
And then you just fucking
Got
do
moxie.
it. How many of those guys
Moxie.
who are making home videos and fucking claymation and shit are now like the ultimate special effects designers in Hollywood were college educated, those guys got in there when they were fucking hash smoking hippies. Like,
Right.
let's fucking make some puppets, man, like, what the fuck?
No, and I'm at the same point, a bachelor's degree for an extra $10,000 a year, like I've already done my work. It's already there.
Right.
So the piece of paper to back me, like I said, it's 10 years of my life that'll guarantee me an extra $10,000 a year.
So back on
Fuck you.
the teacher thing, it's kind of funny because I think high school is even kind of the same way. And a reason I think that is because when I first got on Facebook, I friended a bunch of old high school teachers I've had. And either 2 or 3 have unfriended me like for like political discussions we've had or things along those lines. So I think even like, I think school overall, I think just education in this country is set up to kind of indoctrinate you as opposed to make you into an independent thinker.
Oh, but you see, Steve,
No,
that's diametrically opposed to what the other 99.5% of everyone else thinks.
I'm an educated thinker because I went to
Yes.
college and I have a degree. I'm
Yes,
smarter
it
than you
is.
because I have a degree.
I'm talking about like people you don't know, you never hear of. They're just like anonymous people, like the people like Kids in the Hall mocks, basically,
Okay.
and they're just out there, and there's a fucking ton of them. What do they think?
So how should
They think that The Voice is a good show. They
right.
think
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars is a good show. Entertainment Tonight's been on for like 35 years.
True. So how should education be structured in this country?
People should be able to learn what they want.
Fair enough. Like Montessori schools?
Just whatever.
How about you, Paul? Like if you could make your college experience better, what would you do?
I wouldn't go to college. I would just read. I would read books at home and kind of just gear myself towards the interests of that I'm actually into. You know, a lot of these classes, they're not geared towards me. They don't help me out with any kind of like survival sense or anything like that. There's no classes in college to how to keep fucking bees. You know, like it's not what I'm into and what I think people should necessarily be into.
Well, even again in high school, like you don't learn how to do your taxes or how to fix your car
Build
or
your house, you know. I mean, well, they
practical
have
things.
they have gearhead classes, but everybody just fucking smokes pot and doesn't do shit anyways, you know. Like that's kind of.
But like everybody getting pissed off that they're going to stop teaching cursive. It's like who needs to learn cursive? That's not really.
How do you sign a
useful.
check?
Well, I mean, you could print your name, couldn't you?
Well, that's what it's going
You
to
don't
come
want to
to.
sign your name with a fucking flourish. This country was founded on a document written in cursive. All those balls hard men signed that contract. Look at John fucking Hancock.
Well-
He took him that whole fucking page. He's like, John Hancock, right on the top.
Let's talk about the flow
Cursive.
of it. It's like writing
Signature,
calligraphy.
that's
Like
your
it feels
fucking
good to
name.
write in cursive. Everything just flows. Like
But that's what I compare it to is calligraphy. Who knows calligraphy? Is that something that we should be studying in school?
Every Chinese person,
It's
every
the
Japanese
patient-
person, every
it's
Korean
a patient
person,
mental
but
art.
is that something that
It is,
every
it's a mental
Indian
art.
person.
that's not something that we
it's
should
an
learn in
art.
school,
It's
though?
an art.
Why?
Why not?
Because you should be learning things that you're actually going to use in your life.
Yeah, but
like
the
mental.
point is that the life that we're living now is the one that's causing these fucking derps to
Those
survive
sorta-
and thrive.
Like learning cursive took practice. It took patience. Like remember,
Discipline.
you had
And you
to
can do
learn,
it with a feather.
You had to learn how to write those letters and into words inside the lines and in the same shape. Like it was one of the first big hurdles we had as kids. And it's not necessarily like learning cursive, but it was that action of focusing and practicing and mastering and accomplishing that art, that style, like something that we willed to happen through practice and focus. That to me is more important than just learning cursive. It's that teaching kids to sort of
Yeah, but now you
take
could
their
use your
time
one
and
finger
think and
and draw like a crayon, and then it just becomes type.
or you can use your
Problem
iPad.
solved, you know what I
use your
mean?
iPad and finger paint the whole time.
The
It's a different time.
Cat.
Like we still had to use our heads. We still
well, and you
clever.
could, if you know cursive, you could write with a feather. You could write with a stick, like a hollow piece of grass, like quill pen. You can make that out of pretty much anything. If you have fucking ink and you have Stone Age technology, you can still continue on. The system we have now, like, yeah, it's convenient and like it's intuitive, I guess. Not to me, but to most people. Then it's also very fragile, though, too. Like, and once that's what I'm concerned about. Is like people interface through a device for majority of their time, and they like don't really would know what to do without it. And once that sort of line is cut, then like it's like a serious problem.
Well, if the technology bubble ever bursts, I mean, there's numerous implications that are going to affect everybody in their lives, essentially.
But if people become that integrated with things, then even something like a rolling brownout would like severely disrupt a person's like 24-hour life cycle.
It already does, Jackson. Look at the past 2 major power outages that we had. I think there was one, like 4 years ago or
But
something
those,
like
yeah,
that.
and those were like a lot of days. And like, I think 1 or 2 of them was like kind of in the wintertime too. So like, I could see that being a problem. So,
But what do people, people freak out and they go and buy 20 loaves of bread and 10 gallons of milk because they just don't know how to survive, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, if like an event happens like that, I think people do overreact. But even for something that's like temporary, like, oh, we need to build a new power plant, let's say, and before that happens, there's going to be rolling brownouts or something.
Well, actually, when the internet goes out, I can't do anything at work.
That's
like
what I mean.
The internet
like,
just goes out, and then it's
Yeah.
like, well, I have nothing I can possibly do now.
so now you still have power, but if you don't have internet, then you're still fucked.
Yeah.
Even when I worked my first restaurant at the pizza place, we had Comcast business class, and every time that went down, we didn't have phones.
Which goes down a lot, by the way.
Comcast business class sucks a fucking dick.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Every place that I've interacted with that has Comcast business class, it always shits the bed. It's always out. Or it goes out at the wrong times, and it was like the
They're one of
worst
the
thing to
biggest
have for a
companies in the
restaurant.
world. How do they have such shitty service?
Brought to you by Cox
It's
Communications.
probably on purpose. It's probably on purpose. In some way, someone's making money off of it somehow. That's what I always think. Nothing's a conspiracy if everything is a conspiracy.
Well, so what do you think that they shouldn't be teaching in school? Like, is there anything that you would say categorically they should not teach in school? This isn't useful at all.
English.
Name something.
Well, I would say teaching cursive.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, they
so-
don't, so problem solved.
I guess it's more about
They don't even have dial clocks at college now.
Really?
Like half the classrooms
all
are now
digital?
digital clocks because Megan was telling me like 8th graders don't know how to read dial clocks.
Really?
Because they all have their iPad with them and that tells them what time it is just like on a readout.
Well, there's other antiquated
How would-
terminology, too.
Yeah, that's an anachronism, Steve. Get with the times. Dial clock. What are you in the fucking Renaissance Italy here or something? And Captain Cook.
Hanging up the phone. How do I hang up the phone? It's not on the wall anymore. You're not actually hanging anything up. You're pushing a button to end the call. Like,
What, are you going to bring back
there's-
rotary phones too? Where does it end, Steve? Can't look in the past, you Luddite.
Well, I guess I would agree with you insofar as people should be able to pick the kinds of classes that they want to take. But, I mean, there are limited resources.
They should push kids. They should pack them all into a bus.
Yeah, but why do
And
we
they
have to
should
have
dump 'em in the
colleges?
woods.
Education should be self-driven.
Why not a scriptorium? Like, oh, if you want to be like an ivory tower guy, okay, you go to that thing, just like Yale was for years,
Right.
Why does everyone need to go?
Because it betters society.
It doesn't, though. They're not interested.
It's for
the
equality.
Professors
Jack.
aren't interested.
It's
Nobody's
for the
interested.
sake of equality.
Well, it should be for the sake of knowledge. That's what schools are for.
They should essentially, college initially, it was for specialization. All of the skills that you need for life should be taught in high school. This like lower entry college bullshit, for your associate's degree, it's already stuff that you should know when you're there. You go to college to specialize. You want to be a doctor? You want to be a mage?
That's what I mean. Like,
That's what, that's what college's intention is, to specialize. In a
Well, it's an
certain field.
industry too. I mean, it's a
Like,
money
now here we
making
go.
scheme.
I'm going to be middle class
Right.
management.
now
you
you've
know?
gotten to it. Why does everyone need to go to college? Because that way
Well,
everyone
maybe
takes
there
student
are-
loans.
there are-
You've got a brand new customer now. If
Yeah,
you
that
couldn't afford a
can't get rid
mortgage,
of with bankruptcy.
you can't. It's for life, and you'll just garnish your wages or whatever. So if they can't get you with a house and they can't get you with a car, they could still get you with student loans and maybe credit cards on top of that too. Rental furniture. There's lots of ways, but college is that's a winner. What's tuition now? Like fucking for just regular old state college, like $6,000 a semester or some crazy shit.
Yeah, something like that.
I get paid to go, and if even the amount they're paying me, I'm like, this is hardly even worth it.
For the record, I actually get paid to go myself.
Right,
it's
and if they
just
weren't paying me,
like,
never mind. If I was able to go for free, I still wouldn't do it. And if I had to pay to go there, I would be just like so outraged that I would never be able to go. I would just like, I couldn't do it.
I asked.
I couldn't imagine. It's like high school, and In high school, we did for free. That was like just a daycare for both of our parents to work.
Right.
Yep.
And then we couldn't be unemployed and just hanging around. You know, we had to be in school bettering ourselves, which is another great thing, too. It allows you to be like, well, before Obamacare, on your parents' insurance till you were 25, so you can like just hang on.
Right.
And you didn't actually have to like grow up and actually try to start looking for work. It's just to like delay adulthood because there's no like jobs left, you know?
Right. And I think people actually say that as advice.
That's not true.
Like,
There's plenty of jobs left. Just nobody wants to shovel shit for a fucking living for $10 an hour. You know, there's plenty of jobs out there.
Well, yeah, but that's
People
what,
just aren't willing to
that's what-
sacrifice themselves to.
That's what immigrants are for, you know?
It sucks.
Like,
It sucks.
yeah, it does. But when the option used to be like to do that or starve, people were doing it.
But again, it's for equality. We can all be equal now, and I'll be taken care of, and we'll have that. What's that income thing they're trying to push now? Like we're all going to get
Like the
some
living
kinda,
wage
living
stipend.
wage. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just through the taxation process, we can just live off our parents forever until the boomers are dead. Then there'll be hardly any people left anyway, so problem solved.
Yeah. Well,
Just keep passing out them condoms. They're bound to whittle away.
I don't think any of us support that. It'd be interesting to get somebody on here who actually was in favor of that stuff.
What?
Like that you should be getting money from the government to survive and all that, whatever.
The dole.
Yeah.
It sounds like
Just basic
the
income.
welfare state. It sounds like what in England how everybody's on
The
fucking
concept
dole.
is that with automation of everything, people can just get money from the government because there's such a surplus of everything and we can all survive for free.
Whatever happened to natural selection?
There needs to be in school like
We
I've,
conquered it through unnatural means.
I've come to realize that you can't pass a law
Nurture.
to in America.
God's
It's
law.
fundamentally against like the law of America to kind of pass something to force people into a way of thinking. You know what I mean? But there needs to be like a consciousness shift in America where Woods education becomes part of like the school curriculum. You know, for me, that's something that's made me who I am, is like having like Boy Scouts in my life and things like that. Like I'd like to see that become like where, you know, I remember when we went in school, we went to Camp Jewel.
Right.
That was an awesome
Couple
trip.
times.
But why weren't we should have been doing that like once a month? You know what I mean? Seriously. I'm not fucking around. Like I think we should have been taking more camping trips as a class. You know? I think we should have been doing more shit as a group, like as growing up. So at least we're there to like support each other in more than just like a school role, you know? That's sort of part of the community. Like we're all the kids growing up in the same town, but we only really interacted between the hours of whatever 7 and 3 and then maybe bus rides and shit. And then after school if we were friends, but I think like as a group, I think we would have been maybe more understanding of one another and not necessarily we would have come together more as a community if we'd been able to do more shit than just be trapped in a fucking box.
Right.
You know? I'd rather been
from room to
I'd
room
rather been
every
taking
50 minutes.
they keep you in there like a fucking keep you in there like a little animal,
Time for
like in a
French.
box. Like okay,
dong.
it's
It's
not
like
that bad. Like
Skinner's box with like
it's-
fucking pigeons.
it might sound like a first world problem or something, but school was just like so fucking backwards. You know what I mean? It made us all into strangers and adversaries from time to time. Like
That's
it's
not
like a little
football.
jail. It's like a little jail, and then the teachers that are in there, they may not be wanting to teach you exactly what they have to teach you. Some teachers kind of broke out of that. Like when Mr. Browning had us actually form a phalanx on the track and like carry track pole vaulting poles and taught us how to like hold spears and shit. That was
pretty cool.
really awesome. Yeah, it was really cool. And then he like attacked us with like a road cone. He's like, "See, you can't penetrate. You can just poke. You can poke at him." It was really cool.
Sounds like a good class.
But yeah, like
Carpe diem.
there needed to be more outdoor stuff.
Yeah, like
There's
instead of-
There's just so much woods on that, especially at Bacon
Yeah, right.
Academy. There's all that woods back there and shit that we could have been using. Like,
Well, we
Cross country did.
We were using it plenty.
what?
right near the softball fields. Yeah, and then instead of like senior prom, groups of 5 or 6 of us can go out and capture a hellet and decide if we were going to kill him or not. It'd be pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah. Oh man.
I was going to say that even
like
before
that.
the failings.
I don't like that.
All right, whatever.
I just think that we need to unplug. There needs to be some unplugging.
I agree with you.
Mandatory unplugging.
I mean, I would say that school should be teaching us
In school.
The irony is
What? I missed it.
Nothing. Just unplug the computer.
the medium in which we're communicating,
That's true.
not
I
only
dig it.
amongst ourselves, but to the rest of the world.
So technology is beneficial in some ways.
I don't know. It's a devil's, it's a Faustian bargain.
I suppose.
Right, because what's the original, as far as I'm concerned, it's like Prometheus bringing down fire in the fennel stalk. It's like, the tree of knowledge.
You know what I think would be a cool thing is if there were other societies like the Amish that did that with like different periods of human history. Like, all right, we're just going to stay in the 1950s.
Neolithic only, all right? Where's my
Yeah.
flint sickle?
Hey, you want to slap
Renaissance
my
era,
wife for
whatever.
talking back right now? Feel free. 1950s.
Got some sheep, some einkorn.
Whatever, 90s,
No, I did.
2006,
Whatever
whatever.
the case may be,
When was that great time? That perfect good time that we could all just live in.
1979.
Yeah, I would say before we were born.
Before the Chernobyl accident.
But we'll never know.
We'll never know.
Before our parents ruined it for the rest of us. Good time in America.
I don't know if our parents ruined it.
No.
I think it's just the people in power,
Yeah, the pirates ruined it.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're running out of time here. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to bring up? Anything that you came in here wanting to talk about?
Well, we just railed against school the whole time.
Yeah, school's not a place for smart people. I'll say that.
We just ended up getting back to here we are on your 31st birthday and we're talking about high school.
I suppose.
We should go to the casino.
Come a long way. But the pain is still there.
Well, it's not high school. It's again, my undergrad, my master's, your guys' school careers. Like it's all shit.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah, there was somebody,
It's all just shit.
my limited community, community college experience that I had, where I actually was going to class. There's a lot of just dumbasses. That's pretty much what I saw. A lot of people there just playing the game, like everyone's been saying, just
Yeah, they're just like lawyers,
Oh, complete lawyers.
just writing
Don't
whatever
care.
they're
No,
supposed to.
like genuine intellectual pursuit.
Yeah, I don't
Or if
like.
it is, it's like totally misinformed and equally pisses me off.
There needs to be more apprenticeship, I think, too.
Yeah.
And just like realness,
kids
like
getting
everything's
into
opposite.
trades,
No one realizes.
Earlier
It's all
on.
fake.
Everything's opposites.
Yeah. Right. So, for instance, in a biology class, what do? You fucking first they got to kill a bunch of shit, and then you look at the dead shit and you pick it apart with knives. For what?
Are you eating it?
I don't know. I like.
You're not-
It's
you're
like
not-
in formaldehyde.
So
or
they're
whatever.
so they're killing things just for your.
So you can like pick them apart and then see like, yep, that's the same as the picture in the fucking book.
Kind of goes against the
And
law of nature, really. I mean, you shouldn't
it's just
kill anything
morbid,
that-
like-
yeah.
What's
I
the
like
point of
biology
this?
class. What?
And then you just have to.
Smashing rats with
What?
the hammers.
It's stupid
and-
too because
No, come on. What happens if you field dress a deer? You got to cut it open. You got to.
Yeah, but
pull out all
you're
its
killing it for an
viscera.
intended purpose of actually
Well, it was
eating it
already
and
dead.
consuming it.
It was-
Like they're killing
and that
these,
motherfucker
like-
is warm.
The deer.
Yeah, it was alive. You probably killed it.
Yeah.
That's different than like, here's your bucket of preserved clams. Pick your clam out, cut your clam open with the scalpel. Now you see the preserved
Oh,
clam.
I only did a frog, and I think we did a mouse or a rat or
Yeah,
something
it was a
too.
rat.
It was a
Yeah, but it still had to die though.
No, it was a rat. I think it was.
well, and just
It
for,
died of
towards
natural
what end?
causes,
Like it's
you
just,
know?
and it's the opposite,
Yeah, just
right?
to show
It's the
ya.
study of life is first we got to have a bunch of dead shit.
Just to show
It's just been
ya.
like this cavalcade of fucking bodies. It's like all these weird
It's a poor attempt.
dried corpses of moths and shit. Like, what is this? Oh, here's a sea urchin that's
Okay.
been preserved in formaldehyde, so it looks like a shriveled brown
So
turd.
instead-
what am I
instead-
going to learn about a coral reef from this fucking shit right
All right,
here?
so
This is
instead,
dumb.
biology class becomes
No
from day
bearing on
one-
reality and based on death rather than life. It's fucking stupid.
All right, so but new biology class
Cool, fingers
from
in.
day one it starts off with walks around the property and identifying the different wildlife that live on the property, and it becomes throughout the school year a study on the habits and the behaviors of the wildlife on the property of the school, and then maybe even culminating with a deer hunt at the perfect at the season.
Well, now you're talking about some sort of like.
There needs to be an end to it if they're going to teach you about the
your
habitat.
dissection.
What's the end?
That's your dissection. That's the dissection class. Is when the class as a whole participates in a way in the deer hunt.
But see, the thing is, if you were
And they
hunting deer and you needed
dress the
to, then
deer.
you wouldn't have to have a class for it.
It's survival.
It would be taught anyways to affinity groups, people who are naturally inclined to hunt deer, and it would just be honed
well,
from
that's
there.
what schools should be organized by, is in affinity groups.
But
they
I'm
should
talking
have
about the complete
options
lack of
available.
organization. That's just necessity driving these behaviors. Right? If you wanted to hunt deer, you can start hunting deer with someone who knows how to do it, and they'll show you how to do it.
Well, that's
Which is generally a parent, if you're gonna kind of fall
parent,
into that.
uncle, neighbor,
anybody,
buddy.
somebody that you know. It doesn't need to be paid for by anybody.
Right.
It's free knowledge.
And
that
then you
needs to
just
be passed
fucking do
on.
it.
no, that's true.
If you didn't
That
have
is what
to
we are
say,
talking about here,
spend
too,
your
is
entire
education.
daytime every fall going to some class, if you instead were hunting, then you'd learn how to do it.
Okay, so no deer hunt.
You should. Nobody should have to pay for
But
your
you
personal knowledge.
you should be going outside and looking at the tracks that are, if you can find tracks on the school property or something. Or
Sure,
out-
but now you're kind of talking about an ecology class too.
that's ecology.
Yeah, because you're looking at like a whole habitat or ecosystem like happening, you know?
The only end game for that, though, is trapping and hunting animals. Like, there is no reason that you need to examine what a paw
Yeah,
print
teach
looks
you-
like unless
teach
you're going
you
to
how to
kill a
make a
fucking
kite
animal.
that
And
eat
eat
Let's
it,
say you were
know?
interested. I mean, I could see if people wanted to participate in classes, they could do it. I mean, libraries and shit offer classes all the time. They don't make you go. And then, you know, how much richer
So
would
what do we do
libraries
with-
be if we didn't have
So
to
we just
worry
get
about
rid of
schools?
school. Just get rid of school.
Sure. Plenty.
It's only been around for fucking since the Rockefellers invented the shit. So what the fuck, you know?
Well, there were schools, or like
Nah, Rockefeller's for
schoolhouses in
consumerism.
early America.
Nike-
Okay,
Nike
so
shoes.
you learn
Then
like
what-
basic arithmetic and spelling.
So is there going to be some
So
kind
after
of
third grade, school's over. And it's just free form and like whatever they decided to learn.
Should be freeform.
Okay, but how are the bankers going to make money off that?
Right. So what are we talking about here? Are we talking about like this sort of Ponzi scheme to qualify people as sort of
Again, the backlash against this is equality. You have to make sure that every community in America has equal opportunity. You can't have some teachers teaching this. You can't have creationism taught here and evolution taught there, whatever.
Okay, so who decides the standards by which we're all made to comply to or become equal to?
The intelligentsia.
Right, so that's a circular argument, you know, like who made them the arbiters of what is necessary and right in education?
they did?
Because
Right.
they went through this
corporation.
process of acquiring all this information, and now everybody should have to do what they did,
Okay,
right?
I guess
According
it
to them.
sounds like
This
some
is-
sort of strange theocracy, like some sort of platonic
This all just sounds terrible. to
social
me.
organism
Gotta.
by which it lives and breathes and is conjured into corporeal existence, realness, although none of it is. Which is to me like the irony and sort of deception of the whole thing. You know, I guess my point is like, what is cutting apart dead grasshoppers teaching me? Like what is important, you know? Or what is
That's what you look like inside.
what is the context of said grasshopper?
When you're
It wasn't
dead.
in a bucket.
You gotta
with
eat like
formaldehyde.
16 of them for
It's the
sustenance.
most
you
metal
know,
fucking
like, what's
class
the-
on the face of the world.
Greek terms. I mean, people don't even learn Greek in school anymore. Like when those things were named, when some Dutchman in 1680 decided he was gonna name everything on a grasshopper one day, then they knew what Greek was. They knew what Latin was. Those terms in their own fucking funny little language were meaningful in and of themselves because people understood what they were trying to say. Maxillae, like, you know, I don't know what that means in Latin. I'm assuming it means like mouth or teeth or something. But if I knew Latin, I'd be like, oh, it's teeth. Okay.
Right.
So now it's just like rote memorize these words for no reason.
Yeah, it's like kind of goofy names, but in flowery Latin. You know what I mean? Like it kind of means like stinkhead or
Yeah, it all
big
makes
mouth.
sense if you understand the language in which it's spoken. Sure. But they don't. Why would they teach you that anymore? There's no context for anything. It's all just arbitrary.
Oh, you learn it when you watch Harry Potter.
Oh, speaking of marathon, and we started marathon.
Yeah, I guess.
The other night.
I was joking.
I had to plug
I was
that in there.
joking.
I'm not.
Well, again, we're pretty much out of time here. Jack, are you going to do anything to celebrate your birthday 2 days from now?
I'm going to go to school
Oh, there you
because
go.
I love it so very much.
Well, have fun with that.
Thanks.
Rob, are you looking forward to turning 31 this year?
Sure.
Do you think 31 means anything? I mean, it doesn't really seem to.
It's
It's essentially just, I don't know, an appendix to 30.
Well, it's the beginning of the decay phase.
I don't really,
All right.
I don't really like look at
Yeah.
my look at my life in the terms of like every
18.
year,
No,
being
you're still
the be all
growing
end
until you're,
all
like,
like line,
25.
It's just kind of
is-
And then
your
you
life sort
hover,
of
and then
cycles. It revolves. There's always like patterns of growth and patterns of hardening, and
I
we
suppose.
kind of so
like a crab.
yeah.
This is a
That's
mold.
that's the way I am. I'm like a crab.
What do you think, Paul? Should I be depressed about turning 31?
No, probably not. I don't know. Should you? I can't tell you whether you should be depressed or not.
Oh, I don't know.
Are you?
Are you older, closer to death, all that fun stuff?
I suppose and so. Like, do you have any, like personal accomplishments to really kind of revel in right now?
Yeah, I'd say so.
This podcast, of course.
Yeah, you got your podcast going on. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and other various things. I guess the key thing is to have goals for the year, I suppose.
Goals for your life. Don't look
Yeah.
at the year. Look 20 years from now. That's what
Fair
I
enough.
found out. All you have is time to invest in stuff.
Well, that's a positive
It's like
note
putting pennies in the bank, man.
to end on.
What do you think Connecticut's going to look like in 20 years? Let's talk about that.
I hope like an overgrown wasteland. I hope like all those like little horseshoe neighborhoods and like all those, McMansion homes that like get carved out of old farmland. I hope they all just crumble down in their foundations. They're all just choked with bittersweet and all that
That's
nasty
mugwort.
invasive. Yeah.
Hogwarts.
I don't know.
That's why I'm moving up to Maine.
It's gonna be like fucking Michigan or something, or
Yeah, probably.
like Detroit or whatever.
Probably. That's if Pratt and
Just like
Whitney
a failed
closed or something.
welfare state,
Like imagine if like Pratt and Whitney closed.
And Sikorsky at the same time.
So like Somalia,
God.
just like in the United States.
Yeah, it'd be like Detroit. And what if the
Greece.
whole?
I look forward to it.
What if it's like within? I mean,
Let it burn.
potentially within our lifetime, we could see the whole
No health
megalopolis
inspectors, woo!
start to wink out like one by one by one by one, like all the whole thing.
It'll
just,
happen
like,
in a
shuts down.
cascade. It's all too connected to
Yeah,
be
everything's so
discrete like
centralized,
that.
man. Too centralized.
Once it goes, it goes. And then even then, the zombie hordes are going to be just fucking unreal around here. Like,
Yeah.
unsurvivable. You
Yep.
just die. Watch your wife and children get raped before you get fucking clubbed to death.
Cannibals. People would just be like eating people.
Sounds
It'd be
fun.
horrible. It'd be terrible if like a massive blackout or food disaster would occur. Infrastructure breakdown.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of
Terrible.
when.
We're
I
not-
agree.
we're not
I
in a
don't.
good
I don't
place.
see how it's avoidable. It's just
So happy birthday.
That's why we need wilderness education in schools.
yeah. There you go.
Way to pull that full circle, Rob.
Yep. I think, you know what? Actually, the solution to this is Common Core standards. I think they're really going to get us out of the ecocidal nosedive that's intentional. And we're going to make it.
Free college too.
That's going to be sweet.
Yep.
Bernie Sanders head in a jar for president 2075.
All right. Last thing. WrestleMania 33. Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. Who you guys think's gonna win?
I can't believe they're carting these old assholes out. There's no like new
Yeah,
guys around.
Goldberg, obviously.
Think
Yeah,
so?
Goldberg. When's the last time he wrestled?
Well, he came back last year and he's being a push. I think he's probably going to lose just because he's been squashing guys in like every match he has. He has like 1.5 minute matches.
Oh, he does the spear and then the
Yeah.
whatever the hell it's body slam thing that is.
Spear.
One where he like lifts him
Yeah.
up and slams him down.
They made a new belt.
Jackhammer.
They made
Jackhammer, yeah.
a new belt, and he like won the championship in like one of those 1.5 minute matches. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to win again at WrestleMania. But there are new guys. There are AJ Styles. Do you know him?
No,
Heard his name? He's wrestling Shane McMahon, so that should be a good match too.
Shane McMahon's not new.
I don't know. No, they have to cart out old people, especially for WrestleMania. They need to have the Undertaker. They need to have Triple H.
Undertaker. He's not under yet. like
No.
75 years old.
He's undertaken.
Been taken under many a year ago.
It's weird how they're that old that we saw like Captain Lou when he was that age, you know.
Yeah.
When we were kids, like we saw Captain Lou in our
Or Jerry
gym,
Lawler.
and
Jerry Lawler's
Captain
still
Lou
wrestling.
is probably the age of the Undertaker is now,
Like
and the Undertaker's
independent.
on
Ric
fucking,
Flair's wrestling.
you know,
No.
on fucking WrestleMania. So.
But Jerry Lawler, he had a heart attack just a couple years ago. He's still wrestling independent shows.
Oh yeah, that's right. You saw him, didn't you?
No, I wanted to. I wanted to
No.
see him wrestle Terry Funk, actually.
Yeah.
Terry
Funk,
He's
yeah.
gotta be all 92. Jesus Christ.
65, looks 92.
All right, so what do you guys say? I'm going with Brock Lesnar. You guys all saying Goldberg?
Sure, I like Goldberg a
Yeah,
lot
I'm
when
gonna
I
go
was
with
a fan in 6th grade.
Rob, what do you think?
Well, I mean, like, who's the heel?
Lesnar.
So Goldberg.
But Goldberg has the title. But it is the main event.
It's going to
of
be a
WrestleMania.
7-minute match, which is like 4 times longer than any Goldberg
and
match.
how long has Lesnar been back?
Well, he's kind of been back for a while because even that UFC 200 was like a special appearance.
Yeah, but like, how long? When, is this like his big return to
Nah.
wrestling?
Both of them wrestle like every few months. They wrestle at
Oh.
the big pay-per-views. They're part-timers.
Yeah, it's like only when the stars come out is like the $50 you got to pay nowadays. Like all Raw is like a build up to the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Like it just feeds you right
Yeah,
up.
3
You're like,
months build up.
how
to
much
the
I was
of
just going to
pay-per-view.
conclude.
How much of an
Pay
asshole has
$50
he
and
been?
You could find out.
Like, how
live.
much of an asshole has Lesnar been? Like, how much hype has there been about the fight?
Goldberg beat Lesnar again in like a minute back in November.
Yeah,
So I don't see that happening again.
he's gonna torture Goldberg the whole match,
Think so?
and he's gonna win in the end.
Maybe he's
And it's
gonna
gonna
foul
be one
him,
of
the
those
ref's not
big
gonna see it. That
flopping.
is such a
It's gonna be
heel win.
one of those big flopping, like, you know, when one's, you know what I'm talking about. One guy's down and they're both down, and then they're both one kind of slowly getting up, and there's the
flopping
flop.
matches,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're like, and the ref comes over.
Well, especially because
and-
they're like both old guys too now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Lesnar's
gonna win, but he's gonna like.
It's like 45,
It's gonna be a
right?
horrible match, and he's
Like
gonna
40.
really
How old do you think Lesnar is?
demolish
30s.
Goldberg.
Okay. Well, again, we're out of time, so I
It's
appreciate
gonna be
you
a-
guys joining me on the special birthday edition.
Happy birthday, Steve.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. And happy sweet
birthday.
16th appearance on Primo NUTMEG.
All right. May
So-
you have many happy returns until our eventual doom.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for listening to this shit show. Appreciate it. Please subscribe on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Until next time.